Game farm fans, we're already having hay adventures. It's Memorial Day of 2023. It's been gloriously dry, planting is going well, and I had this pasture fall in my lap that I really didn't want to mow just yet, but it's kind of a rock and a hard place scenario that, you know, they want to mow it. Plus their animals are out here and they're giving me the hay. So if I don't mow it like this week or next week, they're just going to bush hog it. So if it continues dry, I'll be tickled to death to have this hay. There's some good patches of clover in it. And then there's a few weeds. And quite a bit of my favorite bluegrass that grows in the crop fields in the spring. That's why it actually looks pretty green on camera. There's some like browner spots out over yonder, I feel like, where the bluegrass has matured. Well, we're back many days later. 4. I mowed this Monday, it's now Thursday. Just enjoying working in between, you know, doing tillage and stuff and planting still. Like I said, this isn't what I want to do right now. I still want to be planting and finishing that up. But what we're coming to look at, it may get a little sun bleached, unfortunately. There's a lot of green underneath, but we're coming out here right now. I see there's a lot of, well, it's not crunchy, which is good. I'm out here comparatively early. I usually don't start on hay much before noon, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. So a little bit of dew is burnt off, but not all of it. As we can see, here's one that's on top. That was probably crunchy yesterday, but it's leathery. Because if you rake it too dry, well, what we're after is that clover leaf. If you rake it too dry, we lose that. You know, just crumble to dust. So rake it now, and I'll probably come back late tomorrow afternoon, because that's when I feel like getting to it, which is nice. I'm loving this dryness. There's something to be said for a good old dry spell. Convenience of doing stuff when you get to it, instead of a rush of, when are we gonna get rained on? Of course, this was also my sacrifice to the rain gods, hopefully, that maybe we would get a shower. Some, you know, pop-ups got close-ish the other day, but nowhere near. Now let's get the raking. Well, we're gonna have to enjoy this still life imagery, because I was having too much fun driving tractor and enjoying the nice sunny day and not being rushed. I forgot to grab the camera. But I had an interesting thought. It is starting to get a little dry. So that crunches now. So we definitely maxed out our dew this morning for how long we're out here raking. But legumes, beans, alfalfa, clover. You know, that no-till field I picked up, I had this thought while raking. You know, the owner wanted beans. You know, beans are good for the soil because they're fixing nitrogen. Well, odd thought on that. The roots and the nodules are the factory. That's where it's made. But where are these plants storing their nitrogen? Or the leaves are the warehouse. And as far as it goes, for say getting, you know, that nitrogen in the soil, you gotta get the leaves in the soil. If you leave it on top, well, nitrogen moves really easy, and so it could very easily be lost out of the leaves. Not saying it's all lost, but I'm sure there's potential for more to be held, you know, if there was a way to store it, get it in the soil, blah blah blah. So that's just my odd thought, that there's you know, just because the plant is making the nitrogen doesn't mean it's getting saved somewhere and not just being lost to the atmosphere. Okay, take that loose. We're ready to head home, and then the baling fun tomorrow. I think we'll get the case out for that, and that'll be fun. Woo! Yeehaw! Here we go, we're just getting started. Nothing on the wagon, but the bale chamber is empty, so I've got a couple seconds to film and yak. And this is the first windrow straight down the middle. It's a little bit thin, so that gives me even more time to film. And we can take in this lovely sight. We got the case running baler just because we can. And we'll see how many we make. My guess is under 200. It is a lovely sight. I probably won't get to drive baler much, but it was a comfortable drive over here. And we got a couple more bales left. Pulled the baler out of the barn and greased it this morning. Everything seemed as good as it was when we ended second cut. And we're rolling on along. Let's see, I think the case is what, in late 60s, and the baler's from 03. So it could be a 35 plus year age difference. Really, the baler technology hasn't changed a whole lot since then. There's only so many ways you can make a square bale. It's good and dry. I'd say the leaves are making it in. We'll test Adam's driving ability, because I kind of wake the windrows pretty fat. I'm gonna have to go stack here in a second, but I'm slacking as long as possible, all for the video. Sounds like it's handling the plunger strokes okay. I don't hear the RPM jumping around. Okay, time to go stack. We got a pile up going on back here. Uh-oh. Well, we got a hot second of lollygagging on the backside here. We'll stay up on the wagon. Adam's gotten pretty good at following the curve of the row and learning how the baler turns kind of funky. A couple of these, the end's got a little tail whip. Just because I was raking 4 and 5 of my 7-foot cuts together. The animals out here might have taken some of their share. So it's a little thin, but there's a lot of clover. So it's all good. We'll see how it grows back in this dryness. I'm loving this dry time. Best thing ever. I really am enjoying eating dust. There's no satire there. I understand why elephants like dust baths. They don't take mud baths, they're not pigs. Oh, now we gotta work. Oh, I guess we'll one string this one. Yeah, there's a little bit of sun bleaching, but I did enjoy the ease of which this week has unfolded between doing tillage work and planting and stuff. Oh, and not rushing or planting after midnight, because we have plenty of dry time. It's wonderful. Great for my mental health. So good. So good. So I just had this odd thought. I'm looking at the windrow and I can clearly see the clover on top. Like the blooms, the leaves, even the greener patches that were on bottom when I raked yesterday. And I'm looking at the bale, and on top, you know, you really just see the grass until I roll it over. And you know, there's a clover bloom, clover leaves, and more clover leaves. The clover is more dense than the grass, but there's also, for, we'll say, one clover plant versus one thing of grass, like the blade of the grass doesn't shrink as much as the clover leaf does. So what may be seeded as a 50-50 grass-clover mix, volume-wise in a bale, could be severely more grass, you know, than clover. Just because of the shrinkage on the clover. Like, we're not having really any leaf loss. And that was part of the thing of raking it yesterday, is that, yeah, the outside's good and baked, but the bottom of the windrow will not be over sunned. It may still have a bit more moisture than the rest. So there'll be maybe a little bit of, you know, a slight bit more moisture to the bottom of the windrow, but that'll even its way out through the bale. But it's nothing that's going to catch the barn on fire. Nothing like that. And after sitting on the wagon for a day, it'll all even out and be equally dry as dry can be.